Go.
All right, we have case number 3 here. We have a 30-year-old male who works construction. I saw him a year and a half ago for a workman's comp case, and he did not follow through with care. You will have patients who will discontinue care after they feel a little bit better. You love them where they're at, but at the same time, you're very realistic with them and telling them what they need for care, not necessarily what they want to hear. So he is back in our office with the same issue, just more acute. So he came in having a very hard time even walking, with severe lower back pain that goes into the glutes with it. So we shot films on him. The biggest thing is he cannot go from a laying down position to a standing position. Feels very locked up and has a ton of swelling in the low back and upper lumbars as well. So started working on his fifth lumbar on the knee chest, and as you can see, L2 is severely swollen as well. After adjusting the fifth lumbar, rescoped and saw that L2 had not changed, it actually got worse, so I adjusted L2 as well with that. And then saw him today. We adjusted his left ilium and L2. He is able to move a little bit better, but is still having a hard time changing positions still. When we look at his old films till now, T10, his compression has gotten worse, and same with the mid-back. So we had a very frank conversation about, we'll get you better, but, you know, do you want to still be here a year later in the same position, or do you actually want to stay for care and get it corrected? Because otherwise this is going to continue to happen, and you're only 30 years old. So that's kind of a long-winded case history on him.
And you started at the bottom with 5?
Yep. Started with 5, and then he had a ton of pressure at L2 as well, and a lot of heat and swelling. You could literally hold your hand close to the skin and feel the heat radiating off as well.
So these are the tough ones, because if you look at the disc spaces, L1 and L4 are the two that really jump out because they're so thin. L1 probably a little projectional distortion, especially when you look there, it doesn't look too much smaller, but L4 is noticeably thinner. So now you have to look, is it because these are acute and swollen, or are they just that much better? I don't have any data on how much something can swell. I doubt it's going to swell up to look that thick. These are all, you know, pretty healthy discs, except for, I would say, the L4 and the L1. L1 at least, you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a very discrete line that is abnormal. It doesn't look like, if you're looking at a, can you hand me the white thing? So if you're looking at a vertebral body, yeah, might as well just give me a straight on, you're just going to see that straight line right there. Hopefully you can see that. And as you look there, you start to see that oval shape, and it should look nice and oval, nice thin oval, like, and we don't really see one here. Maybe like you see at L4 there, you're starting to see that nice little oval. But here you've got a little down, up, over, definitely been some compressive damage there. And then you can see the 12 a little bit. 11 doesn't look real bad, but 10 you can see, you know, there's T9, T10 vertebral height is super, super thin overall and crushed up there. So you know that at some point you're going to be in that area. You're going to have to be there. I'd watch L4 real quick. And when you look over here, the thing that made Dr. Phyllis so amazing and Dr. Gonstead was that they could look at two views two-dimensional views and put together a three-dimensional picture in their head. And that's really what you're trying to do and see. And so here, 4 maybe just starts to tip off a little bit. 3 is very obvious, and 2 follows. 1 starts to stabilize, and it looks like 12 starts to tip off a little bit more, and it just keeps going up. One of the other things that you tend to see is that if someone is, especially if they're outside of pain, and the head is more than an inch off center from the sacrum, then they tend to have something upper cervical going on. They're losing sense of self. And then click on that again. You know, here we can see T12's just less than a millimeter anterior, 47, 48 millimeters, and 65 millimeters. But here he's in a lot of pain. This is the least comfortable. This is the most comfortable position, being forward like that, because of the issue at the back of the disc. When he leans back, when he's forward, it's stretching the back of the disc. It's putting more pressure on the front of the disc, which is going to get the nucleus to migrate posterior. But it's a great short-term pain solution. And if he leans back, now you start to get more pressure on the back of that disc. I'll do it this way. And then it's making that bulge worse. It's irritating the back of the disc, irritating the nerve root, so he's trying to just stay out of pain. But if he does that too long, it's going to get worse. That's why it's important for people like this to be horizontal as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. And the big thing with changing positions too, make sure that they're not, basically leaning forward and then getting up out, because that's going to put a lot of pressure at the back. We like to tell our patients, when they're really acute too, you're going to squeeze your cheeks and you're going to act like you're 8 months pregnant, and you're going to stand up that way. So that way you're stabilizing the low back, but you're also not making that disc worse. And you will repeat yourself so many times, because you'll just tell a patient and they will get off their chair the exact way you told them not to. So don't be afraid to tell patients multiple times the correct way to do something, because it takes 16 times or something like that for someone to retain something.
16 times for someone to remember something, yes.
We're also going to look at, if I can here, we're going to look at his old films. So this is the first film of him that we had when he first came into our office. And I will tell you, he was way easier to fix this time than he is currently, because it's just really holding on this time. I mean, I had him out of pain and walking upright and back to normal function within a week and a half. And we're going on a little bit longer than that already, and there's very minimal improvement. So really stressing to people, we got to get this fixed now, because it becomes harder the more degeneration in time that goes on through it. So you can notice that he has less anterior head carriage with the 33.09 millimeters compared to the new film, but his neck curve actually did improve from negative 15.7 degree curve to a negative 8.5. So at least improvement there, but you can tell he hasn't changed a whole lot structure wise.
I was just say, overall, you see a lot better lumbar curve. You see the discs are all, L4 is still a thin one. Significant posteriority there, more so than any other stuff. L1 a little compressed, but look at how much better T10 looks here than it does in the other film. And typically, I'll say anything under 2 degrees, 2 degrees or S, 2 to 3 degrees, can be an incidental finding, meaning operator error in measuring this. You're a lot more accurate with your digital films than you are on plain film, just because they tend to be cleaner and you tend to find those points a lot more reproducibly. But with the anterior translation that he has in the new one, he has to pick that head up, so you have to watch that. Flexion extension film would be a good point. The new film, the curve is about half as bad as it is here. It's tough to say whether or not that is all pain related, chiropractic related, or posture related.
Because he disappeared pretty much as soon as he was out of pain. So patients will do that. Don't necessarily think, oh, what did I do wrong? Some people, that's what they want to use chiropractic care for. Like I said, we had a very frank conversation when he came back in, and I said, you know, I'm happy to fix you and get you out of pain, but I'm going to see you again in a year, and you're going to be worse. This is going to be worse. You have 2 little kids. And I was like, do you want to pick them up? If, you know, he works construction. Don't be afraid to tell a patient what they need to hear. Because now he's still in a lot of pain and very minimal improvement. Where this one was pretty straightforward. It was easy to set through, and now it's just a lot of swelling and a mess, and he doesn't really want to listen very well. So.
And he's how old?
He's 30 now.
And you'll see a lot of that in the trades. It's a lot of strong guys, usually strong, fairly strong-willed, and usually not, listen a whole lot. They make their living with their bodies, and that's what they do. They also tend to eat like crap, drink a lot, smoke, do a lot of things that they shouldn't, and the job is very tough on the body. They also, because they are basically doing odd object lifting or, real life CrossFit, they tend to be stronger than the average individual, and that strength protects them through this damage, those compression fractures that he has and stuff. But usually about the time they get to be about 45, the damage starts to build up, and they think, well, I should probably quit doing this and start finding a desk job, bidding jobs. So they start their own companies, and usually within 6 months of sitting behind that desk is when they start to fall apart very quickly, because now they lose that strength that's protecting the compression fractures and all the other degenerative changes, and now they can't even fight gravity effectively, and their health starts to go downhill very quickly. So there you go. Thank you much, Dr. Kayla.
Mm-hmm.